I must be some type of masochist to want to put myself through this torture. That is NXT 2.0. Only thing is, it wasn't that bad this time. A lot of it was very bad, but there was some good that actually turned me around and made me a fan a little bit of some of the booking in terms of characters and some in-ring stuff. But just to kind of give you a bit of an overview of how I felt about it, I still think NXT 2.0 is very much so trash. And I think the pacing is horrible. I think the booking of certain things is horrible. I feel like a lot of the guys that built up NXT as a whole are being pushed to the back, and you can see because it's very, very blatant in terms of how they're treating Pete Dunne in a certain way. LA Knight, Tommaso Ciampa, Kyle O'Reilly, etc., etc., etc. Now, in terms of the guys and gals that they are pushing, a few stand out. Obviously, Braun Breaker, good, got no problem with that. Um, as far as some of the ladies, I don't know. Most of the men, not really. Joe Gacy, that's somebody who can actually be something good. I just don't trust the booking. I trust the character and what they can possibly do with it potentially. The old NXT would have definitely done a lot of good with it. The new NXT, not so much. I feel like he's going to be handcuffed in a lot of ways to the point to where it could end up being very, very cheesy, and that's a problem. In terms of Toxic Attraction, I'll get to that a little bit later because I want to talk about that as a whole. But if we start with the first match being B-Fab and Elektra Lopez, this match is probably one of the best examples I can prove to show exactly why it is that I don't like this new NXT 2.0, and that's mainly because of the fact that the original NXT did a lot of good with their characters, with their superstars, with the storylines, so on and so forth. And that's mainly because they knew the individual, they knew the characters, they knew how to portray certain characters on screen. We don't get that because so much of it is rushed right now. In this match with B-Fab and Elektra Lopez, there was a lot of glaring issues. I don't think that this should be something that's shown on TV yet. I think it's something that should be built more to outside of Legado del Fantasma and Hit Row feud. I think this should be something completely separate because right now the this is the sore spot. This is the eyesore of this whole feud. I mean, we all know that this is leading up to um Swerve and Santos actually get in the match for the North American Championship. But right now, this is a whole bunch of fluff right now. This match proved it. We both know that they are somewhat inexperienced in terms of just being able to call a match. And you can tell that within this match. There were a few nice spots, but all in all, you can really tell and see the inexperience within it. So for me, it hurts to see both B-Fab and Elektra Lopez in this situation. I would have rather them continue to do matches separately and then build up to this instead of just rushing into this one. But it's one of those situations where it is what it is, and we really can't do much about it. So um honestly, my thing is it's it's going to suck a lot moving forward if they don't do way more for the brand in terms of changes in the right direction, because there's going to be way too many guys being pushed that aren't ready to be pushed, and the fans not caring, because it is definitely showing. Because again, we talk about the tag division, MSK. Good on them introducing more tag teams into the mix. The only problem is I feel like they're going to do what they're doing in the main roster and keep these same teams in rotation rather than continuing to build more on it. Now, I'm fine with these 4 teams at the moment, but I think right now it needs to be GYV and MSK at the forefront of this whole thing rather than them actually trying to incorporate Trick and I'm forgetting names, Carmelo Hayes and Josh Briggs and his tag team partner. Sorry if I forget his name. Doesn't really matter. I do like them as a tag team though. But again, this stuff needs to be completely separate. Still under the tag team umbrella, but separate feud wise. I don't think you need to bunch these guys up and have these guys feeling like they're about to, because I'm pretty sure we're getting an 8-man tag, and it's not necessary. In terms of Tommaso Ciampa and Braun Breaker, I don't think they need to rush this feud. I think this is something that they need to build up to as far as long term, because what's going to happen is you're going to get Tommaso Ciampa continuously talking about this 900 plus days of getting this title back, and they're going to end up ruining his title reign and the symbolism in it taking this long for him to get it back just so he can drop it to Braun Breaker. It's not going to be a good look, and a lot of people are going to be turned away from NXT moving forward. So that's just my advice on that. I'm fine with what they're doing with LA Knight, because he's going to end up helping more of the up and coming stars, because I think LA Knight is going to be main roster bound a lot sooner than later. So Diamond Mine, don't give a shit about Diamond Mine. We already know how I feel about that. Love Roderick Strong, perfectly fine with that. I think they're doing a disservice by putting him in the cruiserweight division. I think he needs to be more at the forefront, rather whether it be for the North American Championship or the NXT Championship, but I doubt they're going to do any of that, because, again, they're trying to push a lot of these bigger guys, and it's whatever. But Grayson Waller, on the other hand, I'm not sure what the hell his character is or what his attire is supposed to be, but his in-ring stuff, very impressive. I think once they change up his attire, or they actually showcase what his character is supposed to be, I think it might benefit him moving forward. But personally, right now, on the onset of me just looking on, I pretty much feel as though he needs to have a change in attire. Character probably fine right now, but his attire, it just does not work for me, because it's like a mixed match between his attire and his in-ring work. It just doesn't mesh well. But Andre Chase, another person whose attire changed for no reason at all. I know that during the breakout tournament, I ragged on him about him having that damn vest. Right now, I want the vest back, because at least he had regular fucking ring attire. This wrestling in the cardigan and the khakis and the shoes or whatever, it just doesn't work. I hate this character for him. I think he needs to just stick to being a technical wrestler in the ring, leave it at that. Duke Hudson, I don't know where the fuck he is, but he needs to be back on TV, because he's at least one of the new people that actually have a nice stage presence. So I think they need to start putting the people at the forefront, because right now NXT 2.0 is failing at trying to do something that the original NXT did very, very well and organically. They're able to showcase certain characters on TV. They're able to showcase everybody's pros rather than their cons. They're able to hide their flaws and showcase their strengths a lot better to make you believe that they have everything all together. It's no secret that everybody who watched NXT knew that it was a developmental company, but they did so well to the point to where you never really saw that at the forefront. You never put in your mind, the first thought was developmental company. You thought fantastic wrestling promotion. You thought fantastic superstars. You thought fantastic in-ring work. You thought fantastic fans, fantastic characters, fantastic aesthetics. It was all a complete package, which is why a lot of people would put that as one of the best indie promotions with big money behind it. Now it's just a developmental company trying to do more than what a developmental company would do. And they're failing at it because they're too busy trying to push a certain agenda. And I don't think that's right. I think what Triple H was doing previously was better for the brand and better for the company. But because you have too much of this going on both the main roster and with NXT, it's just a complete dysfunction. So they're doing right by Braun Breaker. I will give them that. But again, this you're talking about somebody who's of legacy. You're talking about somebody who is from a wrestling family. So he's already going to have the know-how and the wherewithal as to how he's going to be portrayed. So I'm talking in terms of building new characters, not somebody who can pick it up from, the blueprint of what they were brought up on in terms of family. Your Cody Rhodes, your Charlotte Flairs, your Randy Ortons, your Rocks, your so on and so forth. It's these guys and gals already had a playbook to go by as far as what not to do and what to do. But when you talk about bringing in these football players, bringing in these inexperienced guys, bringing in these green gals and guys, they don't know the ropes like that. So they're not going to know where to go in terms of their character, where to go in terms of their ring work, where to go in terms of how they're going to be pushed or where they want to go within the future. They're just following the lead of somebody in gorilla position saying, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. And that's not right because it doesn't feel organic and it never will unless they leave and go into the indie promotions and actually go through and deal with the hard knocks and go through the hardships that help build what that person wants to be and what direction they want to take with themselves and their characters. But that's neither here nor there because we're talking about NXT. So I'll end it off with this. Last week when we talked about NXT, I talked about Mandy Rose not fitting the bill and looking completely out of place in Toxic Attraction. Right now, as of this moment, her look and aesthetics match that. As far as the intensity, I don't know what her in-ring work is going to be like, but what we saw from the beatdown with Raquel Gonzalez shows that there is something more of an edge to her character rather than what was shown on the main roster. So I do appreciate that. So I take back what I said because they did actually change. JC Jane, still trash, still doing too much, except during the beatdown and during the tag match. If she continues to use that extra energy that she does outside of the ring, inside the ring, we might be okay. But as far as the Toxic Attraction trio, the aesthetics right now, they have the look. So I'm okay with that. The attitude, definitely there for the most part, but we'll see. Gigi Dolan, nothing wrong. Nothing wrong at all. Keep doing what you're doing. But personally, I feel that JC Jane is the weak link within Toxic Attraction. I think what they should have done with this build as far as for this trio was highlight Gigi Dolan as a singles wrestler and then build to them being a tag. And then have, of course, Mandy Rose at the forefront because you want to have that star power there. Granted, my bias is for Gigi Dolan. I feel like she's more of a bigger star, and I feel that she has the better in-ring and the better character. But they're not going to do that, so we got to take what we get, what they're giving us, and just run with it. So right now, I'm a fan of Toxic Attraction. Hopefully, they continue to build more on this in the direction that they're taking it because I'm somewhat sold. So we'll see what happens moving forward. Still think NXT 2.0 is trash. I'm going to continue to somewhat stomach it. There's a lot that I fast forward through. I wish that they push more of the in-ring stuff. They did give it more time this week rather than the last 2 weeks. So we'll see what happens. But I'm kind of middle of the road with this one. Some things I like, a lot that I don't. But we'll see what happens. So until then, you beautiful mother effers, tag the F